What's up, Ozarks? It's Chris Pinson here inside the Ozarks First Digital Desk studio. Let's talk about winning and how great that is, but also how dangerous that is. Not for your pocketbook, not for your program, but for your mindset and what that can do to actually screw you up when you're on a roll. And I bring this up because we're just a couple days away from homecoming. Saturday, it's Missouri State hosting UTEP, another Conference USA game, another chance for the Bears to win and go to 7-3 on the season in their first year in Conference USA at the FBS level. And while no one is sad about their success or scared of their success, people around this program, including head coach Ryan Beard, are certainly taking notice of the way that success has and can affect your mindset. So many times, success finally comes after working for so hard for so long. That what happens. In the words of the great group Survivor, who wrote the song Eye of the Tiger, too many times it happens too fast. You trade your passion for glory. Don't lose your grip on the dreams of the top. You must fight to just keep them alive. Right? That is the key. That is the key to make sure that you don't get, quote, too big for your britches, right? That you don't think that you are untouchable, that you are godlike. That is something that has happened to a lot of the best. There are so many classic examples out there of people who thought they were untouchable or teams that thought they were untouchable. Hence why the term letdown game, trap game comes into play every football season. And it often happens after a big win, and then the team that won that big game comes in to face another weaker opponent or a team maybe about their size, but maybe not. And they fall victim to not playing hard enough, not feeling enough of the emotion that you need to play with the intensity and the focus to win. So let's hear from Coach Beard on what this weekend will mean for the Bears and how he and his coaching staff are trying to make sure his players realize that even though UTEP is 2-7 and the Bears are 6-3, you got to remain humble, focused, and hungry to win and expect to win, but not expect to just run over anybody you play.
When you have success, the natural progress of a person is to go, man, finally we're pretty good. You have to fight the human aspect of complacency and go, trust our processes. How did we get to this point? Why would you ever change what's giving you success, what's breeding, big-time plays, being in the championship hunt in Conference USA for our first year ever in FBS? It's what we do on a day-to-day basis. And the nice thing for us is we weren't coming off a dominant win. I think it would have been much more difficult if we had put 4 quarters together and all of a sudden you blow the flames out at their place, but we did not. We have things to improve on. We have a lot of work to do, and our players are excited to continue to work on that.
What a great thought. What a great thought there by Coach Beard. So many times, like Eye of the Tiger talks about, right? The natural human emotion is, hey, it finally happened. We're winners, right? We are winners. It's a great feeling. But you forget what it took to get to the point that made you successful now. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. Could be going from not knowing how to boil water to becoming a culinary Michelin star chef. Everything that you do in life is a building block for the future. Learning how to walk, learning your colors, learning your shapes, throwing a football, how to call plays, how to learn how to win in crunch time. Everything about this builds up to who you are, what you become, and what you are working towards becoming every day. That's why Coach Beard is honestly happy that the team didn't win big over Liberty in a walkover fashion. He's happy this blowout didn't really occur on the road last weekend. That little reminder, that simple, hey guys, yeah, you won a big game, but you did it because you had to come from behind. Not because we went out there and every single quarter we just flat out punched them in the face repeatedly. One after the other, right? This actually took a whole team effort to get back to beating them at their house in the last second. So that right there tells me Coach Beard understands how much this team still needs to learn what it's like to win and what it's like to be a winner. Remember, anybody can win. right? What did Michael Jordan say in The Last Dance? Anybody can talk crap when you're ahead. It's the team or the person that talks crap when you're behind, because you know you're good enough to come back and win. Right now, the Bears have been good enough to come back and win. But playing a team like UTEP, which is 2-7, not a great record. I mean, on paper, this is one of those where you go, oh, yeah, the Bears by 100, no question. But hello, did you see what happened this past weekend when Big Bad, the Buffalo Bills, went down to Miami and they got beat in Miami and nobody gave the Dolphins a prayer? Buffalo, Josh Allen, gave up some turnovers. Couldn't stop Miami's offense, and the Bills lost, shocking everybody, but proving why any given Friday, Saturday, Sunday, whatever day you play, you've got to show up. You've got to be at your best every single time you play. Because look, there are only so many people in the world that have ever existed, whether it's a coach or an athlete or a team, that can say, I can show up and my B game or even C game is better than your A game. Missouri State's not one of those programs yet. Missouri State is one of those teams that has to play really well in key moments to win, like a lot of teams. But you can't let that success of what you're on right now ruin your mindset that you are too good to play this team or that you don't have to take them seriously. Because UTEP has practiced every single day this week like Missouri State, and they are coming in with a mindset that they can win. They have a game plan to win. And if you don't respect that, you will lose, plain and simple. But on the notion of winning and what that does for a program, for a community, for exposure, for the brand, for all that. Well, Patrick Ransdell also spoke at Monday's media press conference there for Coach Beard and Jacob Clark and some other players. And he, of course, addressed the situation with the bowl game and how they're going to try to file a waiver, probably in vain. Might need a few more teams than usual to not win 6 games and all that jazz. But most importantly, I asked him, what does it do for a community, for a team, for a program, for a school to have a winning football team? Because we know that winning does a lot.
A successful football program matters, and it matters a lot. The amount of exposure that we have gotten since really July 1 to now is unprecedented. We're actively trying to put it kind of all together so that we can tell a story maybe in the month of December to where we can kind of point to a moment in time and say, this is when we really started to take these steps and take the university from here to here. That's why we did this. That's why our administration, President Williams, our Board of Governors have invested in this program and made sure that we can have moments like this, right? To be on national television, to have people texting you from all over the country. Hey, we're watching the Bears. That hasn't been the case before. So, you know, when we look back and say we wanted all of this to happen and then now it has happened, I think it really justifies the efforts that's been put into this program over the past few years.
Winning football. It is the biggest thing for any athletic department. High school, college, pro. Football is king in America. Football has the power to infect in the most positive way when it wins. And sometimes the most negative when you don't win. I mean, how many times have you heard Coach Beard in the last 2 years talk about what his father-in-law, Bobby Petrino, and his brother-in-law, Nick Petrino, and his brother-in-law, L.D. Scott, how they walked into Missouri State 5 years ago when they took over. When they said, this program was pathetic. It was destitute. It was so low that they were lucky to field a team. People around town didn't care about Missouri State. There was nowhere near this sense of pride or excitement. You couldn't walk around town and hear people go on, yeah, go Bears football. Love that team. Let's go Bears. I mean, this town has traditionally been what? A basketball town. Between the Bears men's teams in the 90s and the Lady Bears teams in the 90s, of course, Jackie Stiles. I mean, enough said, right? No other sport in this town has had the love affair with Springfield residents and Ozarks area people. better than Bears basketball. Football is now getting finally some foothold. It's finally breaking through. People are losing it in a great way about how much fun this team is to watch. How cool it is to see their team, the Missouri State Bears, their alum, or their parents or grandparents or cousins alum, on national television. The exposure for the brand is off the charts great. And it's all because of what a winning football team does. I mean, Patrick Ransdell talked about this when he came here with his public forum to be interviewed by the crowd, the audience. And he talked about how one of the big things that he learned from being in the administration for UCF, my alma mater in Orlando, and of course Appalachian State, where he came from. And you got to get some buzz. You got to bring the juice. You got to grind and squeeze out some juice to get people going. You know how important this season has been for Missouri State? Not just nationally, not just brand-wise, not just for the program, but to the donors. Okay, matter of fact, today, on November 13th, Thursday, it was announced today that 3 separate 7-figure and/or 3 separate $1 million donations were made today towards the football team in Missouri State Athletics. 3 separate $1 million+ donations. You know how big that is? Do you know what kind of money and what that can do for a program like Missouri State that is currently fundraising its butt off to try to get itself to new facilities, better upgrades that make people who look at this school say, man, you guys have a beautiful campus. And wow, look at these awesome amenities for your sports teams. Again, basketball has great amenities. Soccer, volleyball, and you name it, they got them. Football has been lagging behind in that conversation for a long time. That's why this path to $100 million is so pivotal. And you get 3 separate $1 million+ donations today. Guarantee you that wouldn't happen if we weren't winning. Doesn't happen if you don't win. Unless you're a blue blood traditional program that has great alums and that wants them to succeed, you don't get this kind of support. But that's what happens when you go out and earn it, because you show it, because you fight for it, and you do more than just talk about it. And believe me, Ransdell, Coach Beard, they're great talkers. They will fire you up in a heartbeat. They'll make you run through a brick wall. But they know the proof is in the pudding, and you gotta walk it if you're gonna talk it. And so far, both gentlemen have been responsible for a lot of walking and talking and smiling that Bear Nation is currently being accustomed to. Hopefully it sticks around for a long time because these guys are doing the right thing and they're doing great things in the community. So Bear Nation, don't forget, this Saturday, it's homecoming. This Saturday, it's a big game to show up for. While the paper record says it should be a walkover win, it's a football game. It's 60 minutes. And the Bears better play all 60 minutes. Otherwise, they're going to get beat. But never forget what the power of winning does. And most importantly, never forget what motivated you to become successful in any facet of life. It is, in fact, what makes you successful and is what makes you strive every day to be that much better than you were yesterday.